everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Ruckus Wrastlin. I am Josh Mabry, along with my tag team partner in this journey, Justin Toner. Justin, how are we doing today?
Doing pretty good actually. It's it's pitch black out here on the East Coast. It's like that time of year, but ready to talk some wrestling. Lots of interesting news and interesting developments on the all the shows.
Yeah, the wrestling news the wrestling world never stops. The sun always is shining, basically, because it keeps on moving. So let's just kind of a slow news week compared to what it has been in the past since we started this show. Yeah. But like the biggest one, honestly, has been that Impact said it bound for glory. It is now TNA once more. So I think that is the seventh time it's been rebranded and from Impact to TNA. It used to be TNA Impact, and then it was NWA when it first started, or at least they had a joint thing. So Justin, as far as like the change, we'll get into that, but just kind of go into a little bit of history of this wrestling promotion and how they've jumped around and all that stuff until we have it today.
Yeah, it's quite an interesting history for Impact Wrestling TNA. They were the promotion was founded back in 2002 by the Jarretts, Double J, and his father, and Jerry Jarrett. It was originally branded as NWA Total Non-Stop Action, so it was affiliated with the NWA at the time. Though it was an official member of the NWA. Then in 2004, they dropped the NWA association, just became TNA Total Nonstop Action Wrestling. They kind of like eventually grew into like a distant like second, because like at this time, WWE was all on its own. WCW was dead and been bought out by Vince.
And they were kind of on cruise control, really not their product.
Yeah, they were on cruise control until like the Attitude Era, the Ruthless Aggression era kicked in, and then he had the rise of Benoit Guerrero, and so he had a bit of a renaissance there for a while. But
the SmackDown 6, basically.
SmackDown 6 basically kind of helped carry the promotion for a while. But they established themselves as a distant like secondary or wrestling promotion. It's like, and they had a following. I followed them for a while. It's because of the wrestling. Like the X Division was a huge thing for them, kind of like how like the Cruiserweights was for WCW back during the Attitude Era and the Monday Night Wars. A lot of big names got their start in TNA that you see all over the place now. AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Christopher Daniels.
One of the best matches ever in the history of wrestling.
Yeah, if you've never seen the triple threat match between Styles, Danielson, and Samoa Joe for the I think it was Unbreakable 2005 pay-per-view, go check it out on YouTube. It's one of the best matches of the last 20 years. It's one of the best triple threat matches you'll ever see.
Freaking AJ Styles doing that gainer over the rope to the outside.
I thought he nearly killed himself.
Yeah, I was just like, you don't see that AJ Styles anymore. They definitely are holding him back. Unless he's 40-something years old now.
It's where a lot of guy like those guys and other people got their start. And Jarrett was there, and then eventually, a lot of the other big name legends started trickling in, and then eventually Bischoff was brought in to run, and then Hogan showed up, and you had a lot of the other big names like Sting, Kurt Angle, Booker T, Kevin Nash came in, Scott Steiner, which led to the infamous Steiner Math the infamous Steiner Math promo was when Steiner was wrestling in TNA. Yeah, they had their various angles over the years, and Main Event Mafia, things like that. But the Bischoff Hogan era is where TNA really went south, and then Double J got himself out of there eventually, and then it was rebranded as Impact. It was bought out by Dixie Carter, and it floundered for a while, but then kind of like in the last couple of years with the rise of AEW, it's found its niche as kind of like the number 3 kind of wrestling promotion.
Scott D'Amore's done as much as he can with that.
Yeah, Scott D'Amore has done what he can to keep the brand going. I mean, it's got its fan base, it's like, and it's got financial support. But like viewing wise, it's like it's not even close to what AEW and WWE.
Impact Zone isn't what it was, or whatever they want to call it.
Yeah, but they wanted to get away from the TNA thing, so they changed it to the name to Impact, and it's been known as Impact for a long time.
Yeah.
So this announcement that they're going back to the TNA name kind of came out of nowhere, but I guess from what I've heard is that the fans kind of miss the old TNA days. It's like for nostalgia reasons, and probably just to get attention, and it's like because that's where because the TNA name is when the brand was like at its peak, when it was like pretty entertaining. It's like the heyday, like I was saying, the heyday of the X Division and AJ and Samoa Joe and all them. Before
Beer Money.
Yeah, Beer Money. A lot of
what was the other tag team with James Storm? America's Most Wanted.
Yeah, America's Most Wanted. It's like there was a lot of good talent worked in TNA and made the names for themselves. Eventually, found success. Or especially, look at what AJ Styles and Samoa Joe have done for themselves. Especially, AJ, never thought AJ would ever end up at WWE, but he's had an amazing career in WWE. It's like but so it's a very interesting move. I'm glad. I know some people were bummed that the 6-sided ring, which was part of TNA, trying to differentiate themselves.
This guy.
We don't have
two thumbs pointing at himself. This guy. That's immediately when you message. Just so you all know, as soon as this was done, he messaged me like, "Hey, Impact's rebranded TNA." So I'm like, "Oh, so the 6-sided ring's back?" And all the wrestlers were like, "No." So the wrestlers, just so you know, the reason that the 6-sided ring is not coming back is because the wrestlers don't like it. It's very stiff. Compared to the 4-sided ring. It's not good on the body. AJ's been on every wrestler that you go back and ask about the 6-sided ring, like, yes, it was definitely different. They miss it in the fact that it brought eyeballs to their brand, but the wrestlers don't miss how it just hurt.
It was unforgiving.
It had no give. It was like basically just like getting on the apron, not the apron, but the.
I've seen AJ's, like, he looks back on his time in TNA, of course, very very fondly, because that's where he his career got started. But he said that the 6-sided ring sucked. It's easy. He doesn't miss that.
Right. Here, Darren, hey man. He said the 5-minute segment in the match with 2 counts was a thing of beauty. I think he's referring to the triple threat match. I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah. I think he is. Yeah, there's a sequence where it's just like it's like
1 2 1 2 1 2 yeah. Those.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see if this is gonna move get more interest in TNA. I don't have the time to follow them. It's like, and they're on Access TV, which I don't have access to.
I have like the second version, or like I pay for the extra sports channel, and apparently that's part of it on my YouTube stuff.
Oh, really?
So it's literally just all pun intended. It's nonstop action because it's literally it's all they play. It's like watching MTV now. Just
there's a greatest hits channel that's on Pluto TV of the old TNA stuff that plays like
they don't play the old stuff like the old CM Punk and when 3 Live Crew was still like that old school Jeff Jarrett basically kept putting the championship on him every 3 seconds for no reason type stuff. When they were still, the NWA was the belt. There wasn't really a TNA championship. So maybe was it like 2008, 2011? They finally got. I think they parted ways with NWA, the partnership on that. But no, it'd be interesting to see. Definitely that we're talking about it. So the rebranding worked.
From what I've heard, it's like the wrestling product is pretty solid for them. And, they got some great talent there. It's like especially their women's division has been very strong for quite some time.
I mean, Trinity's there.
Yeah, Trinity's there killing it. Mickey James has a little bit of a career renaissance working there last few years after she got cut loose by WWE.
She got garbage bagged.
Yeah, the garbage bag incident. Deanna Purrazzo, of course.
She gonna get the bag on that one. Speaking about bags, she's gonna get it on that, but she's not gonna get it from TNA, unfortunately.
Yeah.
No. But no, I mean, overall thoughts. It just, as a person who when TNA started, was just nothing but pay-per-views and DVD sales. But to me, the second best commentary crew, to me, other than like JR and King is number one, and then Mike Tenay and Don West are we're just go back and watch some of that Don West. Don West stuff was still rest in peace.
They were great.
But they were great.
That's why I'm glad that they were put into the Hall of Fame. Yeah, they were a great announcing team. I was a big fan of Mike Tenay in his time on WCW during the Monday Night Wars. So I was glad that he got to really shine. Him and Don West worked really well together. I thought it's like
also a classic SNL bit about them making fun of Don West and his other buddy. Go watch that with Will Ferrell and Chris Kattan about how they used to do those home value sales and stuff about sports memorabilia. It's still hilarious on that. I still go back and watch that. That AJ Styles Best of AJ Styles DVD, if you all can find it on YouTube, go watch that. Christopher Daniels as Curry Man, I believe. Was that what his name was? Because he got fired and then he just came back as Curry Man. The Suicides thing. I mean, they've had a video game which was terrible, but they still had one. You had basically Perk Angle, the Main Event Mafia. Like they've got some cool stuff that they've done in the past. And obviously Hogan and Bischoff came in and ruined it. Who knew Hogan and Bischoff would ruin a brand? Who knew that would ever be a thing? And then Dixie Carter did not know how to run the company. Fortunately, she tried, but it just wasn't her thing. But EC3, we had the rise of him, and then he goes to WWE, and they're like, oh yeah, cool. You just sit in the corner and sulk on that. So, I mean, but the TNA didn't know what to do with Eddie Kingston. Eddie Kingston was on TNA for like a while, and he was rebranded, never got to be Eddie Kingston.
Yeah.
Until he is now. So I mean, they've been around for what, 20 years now, I think.
Yeah, since 2002. It's been 21 years.
21 years. Yeah, it's crazy. How much? But yeah, the era of Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels, Sting. That was a big thing. And Christian Cage went there and revamped himself.
Yeah, I mean, the Ultimate X matches are nuts, man. Because go check, for anyone who's never seen them, go check out some of the really good Ultimate X matches. Those matches are nuts. Where they hung the X Division title up above the ring on a 4-way pole X, so they had to literally climb up the poles to get to the title. It was nuts.
Yeah, I mean, the X Division stuff was crazy.
It was what brought me into the product when I was hearing about like you gotta check this stuff out.
What was the name of the wrestler that did that crazy where he walked? It was a cage match. It was an X Division cage match, but it's a spot that's played all the time. I forgot the wrestler's name. That's why I need you to help me out here. The African American that walked the tightrope and then did the.
I forget who that was.
It was like Prime. I knew they called him like Prime, but I forget he was a former the defensive back or something in the NFL. He had a championship ring, but I forgot what his name was. I want to give him his props because that was one of the highlights of TNA. Back in the day when they were in the heyday, but I just his name was tip of my tongue. Those comments can help us out as well as Justin is trying to research it. It was that's still one of the coolest spots ever in wrestling history, where he walked that tightrope, and of course the Don West, oh my god, type craziness. Felix, it's Felix something. Dang it, it's Felix something.
Felix Skipper.
Felix Skipper, yes, yeah, he's. I mean, he was at the.
Him and Petey Williams, the man who made the Canadian Destroyer move, a very popular move that is all over the place now these days. It's he busted that out as his finisher, and it got really over. And that was a finisher, and now it's considered it's become like the super kick,
right. Shawn Michaels jokes about it.
Yeah,
my finisher's protected.
The super kick, the Sweet Chin Music was supposed to be a devastating finisher back in the day. Now it's the super kick is everybody, a bunch of people love using the super kick. That's what happens with some moves, like the DDT. The DDT became very commonplace when Jake the Snake was using it. It was oh my god, if he hits that, he could die.
The DDT is, or the headlock. It's Paul Heyman did, because he's just really good at selling. He's one of the best salesmen I've ever heard, really.
Yeah.
But he was just you can still to this day make a headlock devastating if you do it the right way and promote it right and put it over the correct way. So you can make any move. But I mean, that's the only thing is some of these matches, especially that's why Cornette hates that Osprey Ricochet match with a passion because he's just like there's not selling anything. They're
Yeah.
just flipping around doing act. It's like a Circus Soleil in a four-sided in a certain
There's a lot of
square circle.
like you can easily find highlight reels of the exhibition online.
Yeah.
So
But yeah, anything else on TNA
No.
before we switch to TNA in the running for a
Yeah.
one Will Osprey, whose contract is expiring in February for New Japan, and it's basically the bidding war of 2024 before MJF is basically what we're looking at because he's basically coming out and saying I'm open to anything as long as you pay me the money because he used to be very big on he didn't like to travel around. He liked to just basically New Japan, fine, I'll go there.
He made it clear for a while he was not interested in moving to the United States for any of the big promotions. He preferred staying in England with his family and just working with New Japan and then traveling around. Occasionally coming to the States or Mexico or other places. But he's changed his tune. First, he was interviewed by Sports Illustrated and said that he's had a really good time and relationship with TNA Impact. Really likes working there and said that they actually are in the running for a place that he would choose to sign with when his time with New Japan is coming up, which caused got a lot of attention. And then further attention was raised when he did another interview with Metro where he said that he's open now to moving him and his family to live in the U.S. And if WWE comes calling, he will listen. So he's open not only to obviously AEW's in play because he's worked with AEW a lot, and it's like and had amazing matches every time he showed up. I mean, it's like the stuff with the feud with Kenny Omega is just like chef's kiss level awesomeness. So it's like he's made it clear. It's like it's like not AEW is not the only company that he's willing to listen to. It's like he's going to listen to offers from TNA and even WWE if they make one, which I have no doubt that they will. So it's going to be very interesting to see where Osprey is going to land because I don't think New Japan is going to keep him. I think he definitely wants to expand his horizons. So he's probably I'd say the most likely. I mean, the super shocker would be if he ended up working for TNA. I don't know if they. I mean, he likes working there, but I don't know if they'd be able to afford to keep him for a long term. That it's going to come down to either AEW or WWE where he wants to go, and it's going to be about money and also comfort and how he feels about creative. And right now, I would give the edge to AEW just because he's worked with them.
They booked him great.
But
I don't know what the backstage is, but I'm never going to count out Triple H. Hell no.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of funny, Darren. Yeah. And then his wife said, "Go earn that $1 million. I'll see you in a year."
Exactly.
Is he still married to Priestley?
Or
I know they had he might. I don't know if they're still together because I mean I remember him and her were definitely an item back in the day.
He's not. He's not married, but I know he's been with someone for quite a while. So it's like, he was he dated Brie Priestley, who's better now known as Blair Davenport in NXT. They split up back in 2021.
Okay, because I knew they were.
Yeah, so they used to be together. So he's been single for a while.
Is she in NXT?
Yeah, she wrestles in NXT under Blair Davenport now.
Okay, because I remember her in AEW, and
he was in AEW for a bit, and
it was some rough matches, and then she's at NXT, and if you can't tell that performance center helps, watch her match in AEW, and then watch her matches now. She's definitely got.
Yeah, they cut her loose, and then they brought her in to the NXT UK brand when that was active, and she did a lot of work there. And then moved over to regular NXT when UK was shut down. She's gotten a pretty good push. We'll talk about her because she had a match on Halloween Havoc.
Speaking with contacts he has in WWE, Paul Heyman. There's a if you go back, Darren, there is a interview / live show that Paul Heyman was a part of. And Will Osprey was literally in the crowd, and he literally offered Will Osprey like a contract for some other brand. This was back before he came back from the WWE to do Brock Lesnar stuff. So this was in between that. After he got fired, I think when he got fired, and then Brock Lesnar came back, and so they brought Paul Heyman back. So in between there, Paul Heyman was doing his own, I forget what other side business he had, and so I don't know if he still has contact with Paul, but as far as that's the only one that I can remember of him actually
And also,
interacting.
Osprey's still young. He's only 30 years old, so it's like he's just hitting his prime. So so the AEW WWE is going to want to snatch him up for a long-term contract because he's one of the best wrestlers on the planet right now.
Yeah. That's okay. It's out of the loop. It's not hard to get back in it because all you have to do is watch our show, number one, and then number two, go follow one wrestling news site on Twitter X, and then everything, the algorithm will take care of itself on just popping up random news stuff.
Funny thing, Osprey said that the match that inspired him to become a wrestler was the three-way match from Unbreakable 2005 we were talking about earlier. Yeah. That's after he saw that match, that's what made him decide he wanted to be a pro wrestler.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna tell you where that falls in my favorite matches of all time because we might be doing that with another show.
Yeah,
we're doing some top 10 stuff. So if you all want to see anything me and Justin do covering top 10 wrestling type of things like favorite wrestler, favorite match, best match of 2002, whatever it is, put it in the comment section, put it in the chat. And let us know because that's something we're working on launching.
Yeah,
like every other YouTube wrestling website, but it's fun to do. So content.
It'd be crazy if you ended up at WWE, but like the matches he would have with like Seth, Roman, Gunther, him and Gunther have clashed before. It's like you can find on YouTube. They had a match a couple years ago for a promotion over in the UK, and it's a banger as you would expect between Osprey and Gunther. So it's like he's like. So I'd still think more likely he'll end up in AEW, but you never say never. Look what happened with Jay Cargill. Didn't think that she would jump ship, but she did.
So with this comment, I'm going to throw this one out there.
That's a good one.
Does he make all the marks like us go crazy, and he just debuts against Ricochet if he was to do WWE?
I would be. I'd probably Ricochet or another big name.
I wouldn't. Ricochet was the first one that popped in my mind, just because of and them actually having like a proper match. It's like, hey, here's a better version of Logan Paul, Will Osprey.
Right.
Which I can't sit there and say a better version of Logan Paul when Logan Paul.
I could definitely see them do it. Yeah, for Ricochet. Yeah, that because it would be a banger.
Yeah. It definitely would. I mean, obviously, we talked before we went live. I really want him, and I mean, anything with because Seth can just work with anybody, but definitely him and Seth. I mean, if they let him go for give him 20 minutes,
good Lord.
20, 30 minutes, that's a freaking that might be a cool Iron Man match that I wouldn't mind, even though I don't really care for Iron Man or, as you know, Last Man Standing matches. Those two are it's just very tough to keep those two are just very hard type of matches to do, and the fact that's why that Shawn Brett Iron Man stuff was just such a classic, and that's why Kurt Angle can do them. Like, it just takes a very special duo to pull off Iron Man, and Will Osprey and Seth Rollins could definitely do it. Obviously, Cody and Seth could probably do it, but I think Will is a little bit better in ring on that. So thoughts on that, if anything, as far as like any steps that you think Will Osprey can definitely shine in compared to that he hasn't done?
Iron Man.
I mean, Money in the Bank is like he's going to be the new like Kofi.
Ladder match. Yeah, forget about it.
Ladder. That's what I'm saying. Like, just him and Ricochet in a ladder match. Oh my gosh, that would be awesome.
Good Lord, man.
It's just if you all don't know how Osprey is. Watch him. Like, go watch the Ricochet match that we're talking about, which is it's divisive. It's divisive between wrestling fans, and then go watch his Kenny. But if you don't, and like, oh, you watch this, all he does is flippy stuff. Then go watch recently his match with Kenny Omega. And it's like, no, dude could just do anything. Dude's just ridiculously talented, and like you said, he's only 30 years old. He's not MJF mic skill work, but MJF's not Will Osprey in the ring. It's just he's definitely one of the top tier talents right now. in the
And he's really seasoned because he started wrestling before he turned 20. It's like he started wrestling in 2012, and so it's like he's been wrestling for a good decade already, and it's like so he's got like a good another 10, 20 years to go. So.
Yeah, I can't believe. And also, this brings it up that Velveteen's like. Apparently, I saw some rumors about him like being back in talks with NXT. I'm like, why are you going to touch him right now?
And then SRS talked to a source, and they're like, that's a bunch of bullshit.
So basically, it's probably his camp that was just trying to put his name back out there, trying to be.
Yeah, he like Tessa Blanchard has burned a lot of bridges and is like persona non grata with all the major promotion right now.
Tessa was such a good talent, but man,
that's a tragedy.
She can't get out of her own way, unfortunately. It's kind of like she's kind of like the female CM Punk. Like they're so good, but they just can't get out of their own way.
Yeah, she's amazing. Like, but it's
not she's worse than CM as far as, but I'm just saying as far as like just can't get out of their own way. It's just they're different situations, but they can't get out of their own way.
Yeah, it's like it's a shame because like she could.
She's not a bully. She was a.
She could be. It's like I expected her to be like in the face of like the women's division in your AEW or WWE by this point, but it's like she's sabotaged herself. So it's like.
No, I know what you're saying, Darren, about Velveteen. It's the match because that's the thing. That's what it's just these wrestlers that we're talking about, Tessa and Velveteen, and even really, yeah, I'll say it, CM Punk. It's not we're not mad. We're just disappointed because of how good you are and the fact that you all just
it's a waste of talent. You know, it's like
it's just that because Velveteen, I was a big Velveteen guy, and the fact that
everyone thought Velveteen was gonna. Yeah, when I first saw Velveteen, I'm like, oh my god, Vince is gonna fucking love him. When he gets to the main roster.
What was it? Back on shout out to Strong Style. I think they had when Chris or whatever he was on there, and they were joking. They were like sitting there how Vince is just going to screw it up and make it racist as hell. It's like, oh, it's Black Dust. And I was just
he literally wore tights to an NXT Takeover that said "Call me up, Vince." Yeah, it's right.
His feud with Aleister Black is still so good. So again, we're not mad. We're disappointed.
Anyway,
all right, move on. Okay, so wrestling is going global. Basically, there's about three different basically jumping all international. So kind of go over about three different things. New Japan coming here. What WWE going there? Where are we going?
WWE, they're really expanding doing the pay-per-views overseas because they've been very successful, obviously, and they recently announced that they're going to be doing Elimination Chamber in Australia in February, and now just the other day they put out a press release announcing that they're going to do a special pay-per-view in Berlin, Germany next year. It's going to be called Bash in Berlin. It's going to take place on August 31st, 2024. It's the first time that they've done a major pay-per-view in Germany. They've done Germany for tours and stuff like that, and footage of that has shown up on tapes and stuff back in the past, back in the day WWE Home Video would release these tapes of all these matches that were filmed when they would go on the world tour. It's like so when they would be in Europe or in Germany and stuff like that back in the day. But they've never no major pay-per-view has ever taken place in Germany before, so this is pretty huge. Louis Kaiser and Gunther are going to be treated like rock stars at this pay-per-view.
Yeah. The only thing here, I just got this really bad dad joke in my head, so I'm just going to say it. This is the only time that I'm kind of I wish Chris Jericho was still in WWE just so they could do his music would break the walls down and just show them tearing down the wall of East
the Berlin Wall,
and the Berlin Wall. It'd be funny there. And then I just saw the rumor. Me and Justin alluded to it that Backlash in next year could be held in Paris, France. Again, rumor. We really don't like to do rumors, but it's slow news day, so we're just going to throw that out there because about WWE going a bunch of international places, and then New Japan's doing a couple shows in the United States, but they do that. Frequently.
Yeah, because they got a strong following here in the States, so it's like they do some stuff over here in the States. WrestleMania
London, 2 years, Wembley Stadium, calling it.
Yeah,
2020 WrestleMania
it's gonna
2025
happen,
Wembley
Darren.
Stadium. After AEW did that, they're going there yesterday.
Yeah, after the success AEW had at Wembley Stadium this year, WWE is gonna fight. If not WrestleMania. Well, they've already done a pay-per-view in London. They did Money in the Bank this year, so they've already been to London with a major pay-per-view. But like WrestleMania, they're going to do WrestleMania because they're going to want to exceed the numbers that AEW had at Wembley Stadium, and the only way to do that is with a Wrestle. Only a WrestleMania would be able to put more people in the seat, more than 80,000 people in the stadium for a pay-per-view event. So I think it's going to happen.
Have they done any big events in Paris? I know they've gone over.
They've done tours there, but now it's like the UK is the other one where they've had like previous pay-per-views. Like well, Money in the Bank was the first one they had in a pay-per-view in the UK. So they used to have those back in the early 2000s. They used to have the UK exclusive pay-per-views that were in the UK and were like for the the UK audience only. And they did that for a while. So it's like they've got a history there, but now they're going to places that they've never been for. I mean, like Australia, like Puerto Rico was huge for Backlash. Money in the Bank was huge. Clash the Castle last year and was a huge success. And it's like now they got limited shipping in Australia. Now they're going to Germany for this pay-per-view. Very to see where they're going to put SummerSlam. Either they're going to probably move SummerSlam maybe to the end of July or maybe at the beginning of August, and have like a couple weeks in between.
They always were like right at the beginning of August. I just remember, I don't know why, but I just remember the SummerSlam where the promo where Brock Lesnar F5 to Shark. That's still my favorite SummerSlam promo of all time.
That was nuts.
I think that was like August 2nd. That's the only reason it reminded me is because that's the only time I remember a good SummerSlam promo was like them just sitting there on the beach and then Brock Lesnar just comes out of the water F5ing a shark. And I'm like, wait, they didn't jump the shark. They just F5'd one, which is so WWE on that. So yeah, two dad jokes. If you're counting, that's two dad jokes for me.
Also guarantee Gunther's probably going to headline. Is probably going to be involved in the main event if they're going to do it at the show. I'll guarantee it.
Yeah, just have him and Sheamus just slap the.
Because he's going to be in the world title picture by then, I believe.
Yeah, probably. All right.
And then the AEW announced that they're doing one more pay-per-view to close out this year. They're going to be holding AEW World's End on Saturday, December 30th, just before 2024 kicks in. It's going to take place at the Nassau Coliseum on Long Island.
Wonder why it's Long Island. They seem to go there for some reason.
Well, that's MJF's backyard, so no surprise. So it's not surprising, there's been talk, and people have asked Tony about it. It's like obviously with the relationship with Warner Brothers, they want more. I don't think the AEW is going to go monthly like WWE does, but they're definitely having more. They're expanding their pay-per-view slate for obvious reasons because it's like they're trying to make money. So it's like we got Full Gear coming up and then World's End. And it's like so they're going about like if it's like 2 months every pay-per-view, that's not bad. It's like
how many pay-per-views? They used to start with just like 4.
It was just 4. They started with just 4.
That was a big thing. They were we only do 4 pay-per-views because we don't have to do a pay-per-view every month. And I'm like, okay, watch the dollar signs, watch the dollars roll in. You're gonna have more pay-per-views.
Right. I think World's End's gonna be like the 8th pay-per-view this year. So like they really, they've almost like doubled it.
And Forbidden Door is a hit, so you're gonna keep doing it as long.
And they're they're going back to Wembley next year.
Yeah, they're definitely gonna do that again. I don't think they're gonna do 80.
August is gonna be a big international month because AEW is gonna go back to Wembley again, and then you got WWE at the end of the month in Berlin. So it's like the international fans are gonna get treated next year with 2 big pay-per-views from the 2 big companies.
Gotcha. Any other wrestling worldwide places?
I think that covers all the major news.
All right. Well, story time brought to you by Darren in the chat. When he was at a house show over in London, Big Show had a cage match. The cage fell apart, so Shield jumped in and did a run in to save the show.
Nice.
That's crazy. The fact that they just had the Shield was just back there, like, all right, you guys go back there, go out there, because they probably the cage broke, and they probably, to me, they were trying to audible and do everything they can, and then they
Yeah.
literally just called Roman and Seth, and that's my theory on probably that situation.
That's pretty cool,
That's a cool little story there. All right, so we ready for SmackDown?
Yeah. So.
All right, sir. I will give you the stage. You can
Yep.
recap
We'll
it,
run down
and then
SmackDown
we
here.
will discuss what sucked, what was great, and what
Yep.
to look forward to.
All right. So SmackDown last week. Show opened with special counsel wise man Paul Heyman came out bragging about how Jimmy Uso got the job done for the Bloodline and making sure that Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes lost the tag team titles to the Judgment Day back on Raw. But before we could get ready further, LA Knight came out to the Mega Pop and had a bit of words with Heyman. It was great stuff where like Heyman was definitely like intimidated, and like LA Knight guys was like, no, it's like, no, you stay right there, or else I'm gonna wreck you. It's like you're gonna stand there and listen. Really good pro for LA Knight, saying basically, hey, I'm coming for your boy Roman. I'm not gonna stop till I get the title, but done in a really good way. Classic. Tomorrow night on SmackDown, which will be on FS1 because the World Series is starting on Fox between the Rangers and the Diamondbacks. Game 1's tomorrow night, so the SmackDown has been moved to FS1. So they're going to do the classic, contract signing bit between the two of them on the FS1 show. Then we had Montez Ford taking on Santos Escobar. Montez Ford picked up the win thanks to some distraction on the outside from the heel team. Lashley and the Profits went to try to beat Escobar down, but Carlito ran out with a steel chair to make the save to continue this feud between Lashley's group and the LWO. Rey Mysterio was talking to the LWO afterward. He thanked Carlito for having Escobar's back. They're familiar. And then he told them that he was going to handle Logan Paul's challenge for the U.S. title that he made after his boxing match recently. He was going to do it on his own. He could handle it. Then we got a little insert promo again from Alba Fire and Ilsa Dawn. Their tag team is now known as the Unholy Union. Cool name. And they promised that there will be much suffering for Piper Niven and Chelsea Green until they get their hands on the women's tag team titles. Look forward to that. I like them. They're good in the ring. They had a pre-tape segment where Pretty Deadly went to have a spa day to celebrate Elton's return and their victory of the Brawling Brutes. But the Brawling Brutes showed up at the spa to cause some havoc and ruined their fun. Good stuff there. Pretty Deadly they're just gold. John Cena came out, kind of promo saying that he hasn't won a single one-on-one singles match on WWE since 2018. It is a fact. Shows how much he's willing to put people over the last couple of years. Said he's going to try to change that. The Bloodline came out trying to attack him, Solo and Jimmy. But Jey Uso arrived out of nowhere to attack his brother as payback for costing him and Cody the tag titles on Monday Night Raw. That led to a backstage segment where Adam Pearce came in to see Dick Aldis. He said that, which surprised Aldis, but Pearce had a feeling that Jey was going to show up at SmackDown to retaliate for what happened on Raw. Aldis fined Jimmy $10,000 for showing up at the show and attacking his brother and disrupting the show, and then had both Jey and Adam Pearce escorted out of the building. Adam Pearce didn't really appreciate that and gave some word of warning to Aldis, saying let the games begin before he left. I wonder what that means. Hint, hint. Logan Paul came out, cut a promo saying, hey, I've beaten Rey Mysterio before and I can do it again. I want to become the U.S. champion. And he, challenging him for a title match at Crown Jewel. And Rey Mysterio came out. They had some words. He accepted. And they actually shook hands in a kind of somewhat respectful manner. We'll see how long that lasts, knowing Logan Paul, especially after what happened on Monday Night Raw with his son, Dirty Dom. Then let's see. We had a tag team match. Austin Theory and Grayson Waller continuing their tag team affiliation. Took on Dragon Lee and Cameron Grimes. Not a long match. The heels won. Kind of random putting Dragon Lee and Cameron Grimes together. Feel bad for Cameron Grimes. I'm really a fan of his. He seems kind of lost at the moment. So hopefully that'll change sometime. But they're definitely kind of building up that this Dragon Lee is feuding with Theory and Waller. So I'm just going to see where that goes. Kevin Owens did a sit-down interview with the lovely Kathy Kelly, talking about being moved to SmackDown because of the trade for Jay Uso. So it's bittersweet, but he's looking forward to some fresh matchups, and specifically called out Austin Theory and Grayson Waller as people that had very punchable faces that he'd like to introduce his fists to. So that's a very interesting tease there. And then in the main event, we had Io Sky defending the WWE Women's Championship against Charlotte Flair. Really good TV match between the two of them. Lots of shenanigans from Damage Control at ringside. Bayley putting Io's foot in the ropes to help her out. Charlotte got pissed and went after Bayley, and they got into it on the outside, distracting the ref. And during that confusion, Dakota Kai slipped the women's title belt to Io, so that when Charlotte got back in the ring, she went to spear Io, and Io basically used the belt as a shield, kind of like when Bret Hart used the steel plate on Goldberg when he speared him back on WCW Monday Night Nitro back in the day, kind of thing, to knocked her silly. Dakota was distracting the ref when that happened, and so Io quickly dumped the belt out to get rid of the evidence and pinned Charlotte to retain the championship. Damage Control went to beat down Charlotte after the match, but all of a sudden, the EST of WWE finally returned from her hiatus since SummerSlam. Bianca Belair returned to a good pop and cleaned house on Damage Control to help Charlotte. Her and Charlotte shared a fist bump and stood tall over the heels as the show ended.
Yeah. Thank you for the recap. A couple of solid show. I mean, like I said, we've been talking about it since we started this thing. For the past, I don't know, about 3 weeks, I think, in a row. Well, again, ever since that NXT versus AEW, it's been really solid wrestling across the board. I don't know, it's because of after them really pumping and really putting in all they can with that, NXT versus AEW, and then it just, that effort maybe matriculated to both brands.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about AEW and WWE, not SmackDown, Raw, and all that stuff. But that LA Knight Paul Heyman segment is I've watched that like 10 times. He reminded me so much of like a Rock Austin. I know people compare him to him all the time and they get divisive on it, which is like, dude, it makes you feel good. It gives you all I forget his name on What Culture, where he gets all the good feelings in his tum tum. I forget his name, but
Sam Miller.
Sam Miller, yeah. So, and it made me feel took me back to those Austin where he's like, "Get out of my ring. Where are you going? I told you to get back in." He's like, "I don't listen to what I say. Just get back in here." And like, and all that stuff. That's
what happens when you have two people who have incredible mic skills go back and forth. You have matches.
And they were feeding off each other so well, and like Paul was hamming it up, doing the little worm that he
Yeah, because he's being the word because he's like he acts all arrogant, at first, but when it cuts out, he's like,
yeah. So it was so good. I'm liking how they finally were getting Carlito back into it. I've always missed that dude. I liked him back in the day.
Carlito he was cool as he.
Why did they? I know they said it before. Just help me out. Why did they change his music? Is it because he's a face now? And that was more like a
probably
heel?
because the whole like I spit in the face of people or I don't think are cool is a very heel kind of thing. So
okay. The Unholy Union. I was wondering where they were going to show back up again. I know that wasn't their name before. I still really don't know who they are because I didn't watch them in NXT.
They need to give the ring, man. I like the spooky promos and threatening the tag champions and all that, but get them in the ring and get them some opponents, please.
I like this is finally the brand versus brand, but it's just two GMs going at each other.
Yes,
that we've not had in a while, and you can plus those two can still go in the ring. That's not something we really want right now.
Right.
But if they get, I know the hint. I was like, these two can still go, and they're really good. You already have chemistry, of course. Adam Pearce has been working his ass off anyway, just trying to make any sense of what his position. Just he's working with nothing. He's been working for nothing for the past like 2.5 years, or how long he's been the authority figure on there. And Aldis has really ramped up Adam. It really made more real presidents to Adam Pearce and put more of like, oh, Adam Pearce is all cool. It's Adam Pearce. Like we used to be like, why is this guy still on TV? Now it's like Aldis comes in. Him and Adam Pearce have a cool like back and forth of like they care about their other brands, because I never really got the whole brand versus brand stuff. Like I understand why they did it for Survivor Series purposes, but it just never I never bought it. It was tough to do. I understand and I understand why they did it, but they couldn't get it across.
Yeah, the only time I liked it was when they threw NXT into the mix a couple years ago.
Yes,
and
that made sense.
Yeah,
that made
which was awesome.
Sense. And plus, you could tell. That was all Triple H and Shawn Michaels, and them pulling up in the DX, G.
Yeah, when NXT showed up with led by Shawn and Triple H and Road Dogg in the DX Jeep.
And Leo Rush never looked more badass sitting on the front of it as it rolled up with the NXT bandana around.
It was about trying to boost NXT back in the day.
Yeah, and that and still
that was the only time I really enjoyed it.
Still wish Keith Lee would have actually gotten that pin on Roman, because I was so hyped.
Keith Lee should have won that Survivor Series match.
Oh, that was so good. That's probably my favorite Survivor Series match when they did the brand.
That was the beginning of the Tribal Chief. They were they were. Well, no, that was actually
that wasn't. That was like when they were still shoving Roman, suffering sucker. Like that was past that, but still, it's like the suffering succotash Roman is basically.
Yeah, no, that was still a babyface Roman. I forgot.
That's when it's called a promo, man. That's you got to talk. Type of John when John.
That was 2019. Sorry, it wasn't 2020. I'm sorry.
But that's just always what I think about that. That's suffering succotash Roman.
You're right, and I'm glad you brought this up, because we haven't seen something like this since when they first did the brand split on the shows between Raw and SmackDown back in the early 2000s, and you had Stephanie in charge of SmackDown and Eric Bischoff as the GM of Raw, and they were competing against each other to see who had the better show. Like one of the big storylines was Stephanie signed Brock Lesnar to be exclusive to SmackDown only, and that forced since he was the WWE champion, that was what brought the world the big gold belt and as the world championship for Raw, which started that tradition. So, and they kind of teased a little bit more of this on Raw. We'll get to that, but the let the games begin. I was like, oh, I think I know where this is going.
Right. A couple of things. I'm like, the damage control stuff, fine. I like the finish. I really like that finish.
Yeah, it was
on
nice.
That, so it still doesn't bury. Even you can never bury Charlotte, but
it's a numbers game. It's a classic. The heel stable has the numbers game against the babyface, and she couldn't. And Charlotte tried to overcome it, but they pulled off enough cheating shenanigans to keep Io as the champion. But it's gonna be very interesting with Bianca back in the picture. She's probably going to get a one-on-one match with Io, because she's still looking for payback, because like she won the title back from over Asuka and Charlotte at SummerSlam, but then Io cashed in her Money in the Bank on her and took the title from her right afterwards. So this is her payback on her revenge on Damage Control has only just begun. So.
And then the award for draw a wrestling match out of a hat. What the hell was that, Cameron Grimes?
That was weird. Like Dragon Lee and Cameron Grimes have like no history together, so
no chemistry. They really haven't. It just didn't.
It was weird. Sense. It was kind of like, well, we need to give. Well, he's kind of feuding with Theory and Wallace, so we need to give him a tag partner. And they're like, here's Cameron Grimes. We're not doing anything.
It was kind of like that Stone Cold. It just reminded me of like Stone Cold with the Brock Lesnar thing. It's like there's no build you can make money off of. It's like Cameron Grimes, so they just drew a wrestler out of a hat.
So bad for Grimes.
I mean, Grimes was really cool in NXT. He's such a mid card.
He's one of my favorite acts in NXT, baby.
Yeah, he was really really good there. On
he's going nowhere right now, but hey, things turn around. I mean, Bronson Reed was going nowhere for a while, but now he's getting treated well on Raw.
Yeah.
So
they've really when people were sitting there like, oh no, why they have put him over on Gable? It's like, you again, I know it's a crazy thing, but you have to build multiple stars. You can't have 5 or 6
Yeah.
people, and then especially, hey,
They
they get
did
over
worry about that.
organically by themselves. That's and then Vince is like, "Well, I didn't do it. It's not my idea." So
Yeah.
that's good shit. Anyway,
Good shit.
but yeah, no, solid show all around.
Yep.
Those are the highlights on that. But yeah, the only don't really, I give it like a 88%, 85, really 85 because of that random Cameron Grimes stuff.
Yeah, that was only like the tag match was only like kind of like low light of the show, really.
But yeah, everything else was made sense. Again, it's
More,
weird
more looking forward to this feud between Pretty Deadly and Brawling Brutes, especially after the spot attack.
Oh, dude, you just that's the only thing, and we'll touch on switching to Raw here on just the tag division. You have tag teams, freaking use them. So,
Yeah.
but yeah. Anything else on? Oh, I forgot to switch that.
No,
anything else on SmackDown?
Nope, that covers SmackDown. So we'll switch over to Monday Night Raw.
Alrighty, sir. Let us know what happened, and then we'll let you know what I liked, what I didn't like, and what we can see as being good wrestling television.
All right, so Monday Night Raw kicked off with, of course, Judgment Day. Finn Balor and Damien Priest came out bragging about winning tag team titles back from Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso last week. That led to Cody coming out and having a little promo off with the two of them. Basically kind of running them down by saying that even though they claim that there's no leader in Judgment Day, he's pretty clearly Rhea Ripley, which I kind of agree with, and he had some really good comebacks. And then Damien Priest had one hell of a comeback too on Cody with like you talk about fish story, but the story is so at this point is that it's like you've lost. It's like taking a dig at him, and so Cody challenged Priest to a match at Crown Jewel, and he accepted. They got into a brawl. Jey Uso came out to help to try to prevent Dirty Dom from getting involved. But numbers game caught up to Cody, and they did a little Pillmanization on Cody's ankle leg with a chair, try to injure him. Good opening segment. Good. Some really good back and forth between Cody and Priest here, setting up their match at the pay-per-view. Then we cut to next up, we had Alpha Academy taking on the New Day in tag team action. Kira Tozawa apparently has joined the Alpha Academy as the newest student. We'll see where that goes. That's going to definitely add some more comedy to our already pretty comedic group. And but Tozawa's really good with that. It's like he's found his niche. New Day won the match. They pinned Otis, kind of protecting Gable as he's working, trying to work his way back into the Intercontinental title picture. Becky was interviewing the back. She cut a promo, had her match against Indy Hartwell for the NXT Women's title. And then, of course, saying that, she was going to take, giving Indy a chance because she felt that she deserved it, wanted to see how good she was. And that, but she was going to beat her, and then she was going to take care of Lyra Valkyria at Halloween Havoc the next night. And very interesting stuff. I really like what they're doing with, like, right now on Raw. You really need to pay attention to, like, even when someone's being interviewed, especially in, like, the backstage area, like the general backstage, not like the little interview suite with, like the Raw logo. Because during this interview, Xia Li was seen lurking in the background, which is connected to her trying to challenge Becky for the title, and Becky's like telling her, hey, get in line, basically dissing her, which led to something that happened later. Rhea Ripley went and talked to Seth Rollins and basically offered Judgment Day's help to keep the World Championship on him. And Seth's like, no thanks, I don't really trust you guys. But it was a really good back and forth. Again, showing Rhea's initiative here with Judgment Day. Becky Lynch defeated Indy Hartwell to keep the NXT Women's Championship. Good match and showing for Indy. Thought it was a good showcase for her. Hopefully this leads to more things for her. Indy's pretty talented. And then Lyra Valkyria was watching the match at ringside, and then Becky went over and had some words with her before heading to the back. And then as she was leaving, it cut to the back as they'd shown earlier in the match, Candice LeRae, who's Indy's BFF, was watching the match, supporting her. And she got attacked by Xia Li, And Xia Li said that this was a message for both Indy and Becky. Glad they're finally doing something with Xia Li because she's been like in purgatory for quite a while here. So managed to see where this is going to go. So glad she's getting some screen time. Then Nick Aldis showed up to talk to Adam Pearce. He offered his apologies for how he handled things with Pearce on SmackDown, kicking him out of the building along with Jey Uso. He accepted his apology and they shook hands. And he said Aldis was fine to stick around and watch the show and see how he does things. Very interesting. Then we had Pearce went out to the ring with extra security at his own request because he knew things were going to go chaotic, and they did. For a contract signing for the 5-way women's title match, Rhea Ripley defending against Nia Jax, Raquel Rodriguez, Shayna Baszler, and Zoe Stark at Crown Jewel. All the women signed except for Rhea, who came out. She cut a promo saying that this was like a conspiracy by Pearce and them to try to get the title off of her, but she's going to emerge victorious because she is the women's division. She's Mammy. She runs the show. Nia Jax responded. I just got a pretty good promo. I was always surprised for Nia Jax. I kind of liked what she was saying. And then she started really dissing Raquel Rodriguez, and Raquel finally snapped and attacked her, and that led to a big brawl. And Nia Jax stood tall and had to stare down with Rhea. I definitely have a feeling that they're going to have a one-on-one match after Crown Jewel for sure after that. Then we cut to backstage. Wolfgang Kaiser told Giovanni Vinci, gave him a little pet talk saying that he needs to take out Johnny Gargano tonight or else because, it's like the ring general is watching them, said that they needed to get the job done tonight and to not screw it up because it's on him as well. Then Bronson Reed came up and told them to let Gunther know that if he ever wants to have another go around with him, he's game. Then Akira Tozawa, of all people, came up and said he wanted to fight Bronson Reed. Bronson's like, no. And then he chopped him and demanded a match. And then, all right, Bronson's like, okay, your funeral. And, of course, they had a match, and Bronson squashed Tozawa like a bug, as expected. Poor guy. Johnny Gargano defeated Giovanni Vinci clean. Tommaso Ciampa returned to attack Kaiser, and DIY stood tall over Imperium. And so Gunther, the ring general, is probably going to be chewing the two of them the fuck out this coming Monday on Raw. They're going to be in the doghouse. Because he said he wanted Johnny Gargano sent out on a stretcher, and that didn't happen. So they in trouble. I'm looking forward to DIY versus Imperium. That's going to be one hell of a tag match. Shinsuke Nakamura cut a promo, said that Ricochet was a good opponent, but now he's looking for someone to fight that will release the expression trapped in his dream and set him free. Very interesting. Kind of leaving things open to basically looking for someone to step up to challenge him. We'll see what that leads to. But I'm still liking what they're doing with the heel Shinsuke. It's like a really, really cool stuff. Then Logan Paul came out to cut a promo about that he's going to beat Rey Mysterio at Crown Jewel for the U.S. title. Dirty Dom came out and, of course, talked glowing about him and that he fully expected him to take out his deadbeat dad. And then they asked Samantha Irving, the ring announcer, to come in as a callback to his feud with Ricochet from earlier this year, which led to them having a match at SummerSlam. Said that he wanted Samantha to prematurely announce him as the new U.S. champion, and she was resisting. And that led to Ricochet coming out to attack both Logan Paul and Dirty Dom to defend his lovely fiance. So cool callback to the Ricochet Logan Paul feud. Probably leads to some kind of match, I assume, against Dirty Dom or him next week. Natalya came out for a match against the tag team champions Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. Nikki Cross was randomly given as her partner, or no really explanation, because apparently Tegan is recovering from her a match that she had against Lyra Valkyria on NXT, so she wasn't there that night. And Nikki was acting like a friggin' zombie, and then basically walked out on Natty and turned it into a handicap match. And the tag team champions had their way with the Guinness World record holder and beat her to win the match. Don't know where that's going. I think it's more about building toward. I don't know what they're doing with Nikki these days. She's kind of been like, I know personally she's off doing stuff. She's working on getting her degree. Good for her. But she hasn't really been used on TV for a while, so that was weird and random. Definitely kind of building toward Natty and Tegan probably challenging for the tag titles in the near future as a tag team. Miz went up to Adam Pearce complaining about there's nothing for him, and that Nick Aldis respects him, unlike Adam Pearce. So they're definitely building up this the tension between the brands. With Miz complaining about his spot on Raw, and then New Day in a promo that was aired that was put on the YouTube channel, basically feeling that they're getting disrespected and that maybe Nick Aldis would treat them better on SmackDown, hinting that they may want to jump ship. So this brand rivalry is starting to build up between with the GMs now. And that furthered with Nick Aldis was talking with Kaden Carter, Katana Chance, and then Pierce came up and said that his invitation for him to stay didn't mean he could go around talking to the talent. Aldis said, that's fine. I'm going to head out anyway. And they kind of parted still amicably for the time being. But there's definitely a storm on the horizon here, I think. Drew McIntyre and Sami Zayn had a match after what happened last week. Drew beat Sami in a really good TV match thanks to a distraction from Rhea Ripley, of all people. Because she's also trying to apparently recruit Drew to work with Judgment Day as well, which led to Drew and Seth having words backstage where they both agree that neither one of them wants to be associated with Judgment Day and that they're going to try to keep them out of the match. We'll see about that. And then the main event, Damian Priest took on Jey Uso. Priest won with some help from Finn Balor, of course. They went to try to do a little pilmanization on Jey Uso like they did to Cody earlier, but Cody limped out with a chair in hand to make the save to end the show. So a lot of stuff happening on Raw because it's a 3-hour show. That covers all the major highlights there.
Yeah, it was still a solid show. 3 hours. You just that's the one thing that stinks about being 3 hours is you get a lot of 50-50 stuff. With it's like Judgment Day, Cody, Jay. Next week, Judgment Day, Cody, Jay. It's kind of like that same beat. Now it's still different. It's still progressing the story. But I can understand why casual fans be like, well, a month ago it was Judgment Day, Cody, Jay. Not really, because Jay just joined Raw. But I definitely enjoyed SmackDown more than I did Raw. It's nothing like what Raw was. A terrible show, but I just think that it had a good mixture. SmackDown did compared to Raw. I mean, I still don't know what the heck they're doing with Nikki. I mean, I like Nikki a lot, but that was just
always been
that one the pull a random booking thing out of a hat.
It's the same like with the Gamer Guys of Dragon Lee. It's like we have nothing else to do for him, so we're going to throw these together and tag team.
And I just give me this Shinsuke since the beginning, and it would have been great instead of just not figuring out what the hell you want to do with him. Triple H obviously knows what he wants to do. And he's got a clear vision, and I
wonder who he's going to feud with next. I'm very interested to see.
Well, he keeps teasing this one guy that we are not going to bring up until he actually shows up. But they keep teasing it, even though they say they're not. But I'm not going to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I'm glad that Katana and Caden Carter are back on television. They're real. That's the best solid tag team they've had. That's not in that's been on the actual big brand. That aren't NXT call-ups. They were the first that were like
former tag team champions too. So
yes, and I forgot what Katana's initial name was. She was on American Ninja Warrior and stuff where she got her start. But like her and Caden, they're always shown as just being like they are inseparable. They're great there. I mean like the Pierce Aldis stuff. it's just so that's probably what I'm just like.
Yeah.
All right, this is really cool of what they're doing. This
Very
is
interesting
this
to
is
see where this is going to
this
go.
is different for once. Like every other stuff, like we've seen before. Obviously, you
Right.
can't recreate the Will every time. But this is at least something different that I'm like, all right, this is different. This is an intriguing thing. This is cool storytelling that I haven't seen in wrestling on that. Yeah, but I mean, I'm glad that Gargano finally got a singles win
Yeah.
on television. And the DIY stuff is definitely really good there.
Can't wait to see DIY in action together.
Did you know? And the one other thing, did you notice when Cody was getting the crap beat out of him that Jay was still in the background just looking at Rhea Ripley, and people were just like alluding to that? I'm like, I mean,
yeah,
that was still hilarious. That just he's kind of
he was
looking
like he was like he knocked Dom out and then looked over really like, what's up?
I was like, yeah, all right. I liked it. I just thought it was kind of funny and that. But what is your, as far as to wrap up Raw here? Because again, Drew's fine. Tozawa, that was pretty funny stuff. I mean, and Darren, we alluded to it last week. I mean, Tozawa's becoming
he's pretty much like the new Funaki,
which is fine. And as a Dallas Cowboys fan, that belt was awesome that he had.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Thanks for bringing that up. Yeah.
Yeah. As a Dallas Cowboys fan, that was really cool. But he's always sitting there doing this thing. I don't know why. That's just, it's like less is more type of thing that he's doing.
Ironically, he showed up in NXT, which we'll get to in a little bit. For more, since I was up to some shenanigans these days.
Yeah. But yeah, the main thing is, I mean, do you like where they're going with Cody right now?
It's filler because it's obvious that they're delaying Cody Roman 2 for as long as possible until probably WrestleMania next year.
Because I'm so glad they teased it to at least let us know, hey, we still got you.
Yeah, that recent tease
still know where we're going.
Clear. Yeah, that tease made it clear that they're going to clash for the title again next year. It's going to happen. They wouldn't do that otherwise. Triple H would not do that for no reason. That was to send a signal to people, let them know they're going to dance again soon.
Yeah, I just like, as soon as I saw them like go face.
I'm thinking it's fine because Cody's still over. Jay's really over. Gives them something to do. It makes sense. Judgment Day's the top heel group in on Raw right now. Got all the belts and everything. It makes sense that he would be feuding with them. So it's like I don't have a problem with that. I think it's fine. Fans are into it. It's like, so I don't think it's a waste of Cody. Like some people probably maybe think, but because also it's helping Jay too get over as a single star too.
Dude, Jay is. I mean, Jay's. It's crazy how over he is and how just like you can buy him being the head guy.
I like what I have to say. Rhea Ripley is like the MVP of this. One of the MVPs of this show right now. Mm-hmm. What she's doing on the mic, I mean, she's juggling a lot of hats. She's dealing with multiple women wanting to take the title off of her, and at the same time, she's trying to take care of Judgment Day business. She's obviously playing Drew and Seth both sides. Obviously, it's obviously part of a plan to make Priest cashing in the Money in the Bank briefcase easier. I think that's where this is leading to. Because I don't think she really wants like Seth or Drew to be part of Judgment Day. I think it's just that they're trying to play. She's trying to play it's divide and conquer to distract them so that they won't it's like the cash in will be successful if Priest decides to pull the trigger.
Yeah.
It's also part of it's also adding fuel to Drew McIntyre's slow descent back into the heel turn.
Yeah, and Drew that subtle storytelling is so just chef's kiss of something that us who've watched wrestling forever we really don't see that a lot.
Yeah, and little details, like Xia Li lurking in the background behind Becky's interview.
That's such a Triple H thing. As soon as they gave him creative, he started doing like people in the background stuff, and it's just cool. Of like just sitting there, is like, here's a backstage promo of them regurgitating the same BS crap that's so scripted, it's painful to listen to. At least you have to actually watch it and pay attention to what's going on, because it's little subtle storytelling bits like that really.
Yeah, like Rhea talking to Drew was a background thing that Seth brought up, like, hey, that was caught on camera. What the F were you doing talking to Rhea Ripley about, dude? It's like, it's like,
so we can buy into why these things are happening.
You gotta pay attention to everything that's going on the screen, which I like.
Yeah, But I mean, overall, probably about 70. I give it a 70.
Yeah,
On
7 out
this.
of 10.
It's
Decent show.
it's fine. It's again.
It's building toward Crown Jewel, and I'll be. I'm not a big fan of the Crown Jewel show, so I'll be glad when that's over. We can get to Survivor Series and War Games.
At least these Crown Jewels are not trying to just bury the stars that they have now for old dudes anymore. So it's more just
they don't need for the first time. Crown Jewel's not going to have Brock on the card.
Yeah,
it shows you the confidence they have right now that they don't need Brock.
Yeah, but yeah, overall SmackDown Raw solid. Solid stuff. SmackDown I liked a little bit better, but I think just because that LA night and they have Pretty Deadly. And just a couple of things that I'm really more. You got my engagement more than the Cody J stuff, even though it's good. It's just I just am more intrigued with those.
It'll be very to see what's going to happen with LA Knight versus Roman. How the finish is going to be, because as much as we love LA Knight, he's not dethroning Roman. So it's very interesting to see what kind of shenanigans are going to happen that's going to prevent him from winning the title.
Yeah, it is. And some people are like, "Do you think he's going to win?" I'm like, "No. Why?" Like, I just, as much as I'm a big LA Knight guy, I'm just like, it doesn't. He just like he's here now. He gets the belt. It's like that's at Sheamus when he beat John Cena in a tables match years ago.
Cody's saying the story's not finished. The tease.
Just all that stuff. It's like, do you understand the subtle and like slow build storytelling with their top stars? Like, it's not going to ruin LA Knight, people. It's not.
No.
So it's as long as LA Knight puts on a good match with Roman, it is. It's going to be that.
The fact that they're putting up against Roman shows the confidence they have in him right now.
Right, and you can see his mic skills with him and Paul Heyman. Just go, if you don't think LA Knight can you thought LA Knight was just here's the catchphrase followed by catchphrase that he was doing. Watch that.
He smoked Roman the week before with the stuff he was saying.
Yeah,
it's like
the John Cena line and stuff like that.
Because Roman's all like, who do you think you are? And he just ripped Roman a new ass, man. It was great.
Yeah, so it's solid there.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on to the other AEW. Tell us what happened the week of AEW, basically. Of course, we're trying to wrap everything into Collision, Dynamite, and Rampage. And so tell us what's happening there.
All right, I'll go over what happened on Collision and Battle Belts real quick, because mostly it was just like match results. Nothing too major happened. The most biggest thing happened was a through line on Collision. Bryan Danielson took on Andrade, had a great match. Danielson won. They had a shake hands of respect afterwards, and then all of a sudden Malachi Black and the House of Black returned. Malachi Black took Bryan Danielson out with his finisher and then vanished before Blackpool Combat Club could run in for the save. Jeff Jarrett and all of Team Jarrett did everything they could under the Street Fight rules for Jeff to beat Eddie Kingston to give Jay Lethal an ROH title shot. Eddie cut it. Check out the promo Eddie Kingston cut on Jay Lethal after that match. This is why people love Eddie Kingston. He's so good on the mic. Cut a great promo running down Jay Lethal, ripping him apart ahead of their title match. Great stuff. House of Black kept busy because FTR, before they could face some guys, House of Black appeared and beat the crap out of them too. And then in the main event, Claudio and Yuta of Blue Echo Combat Club were taking on Ricky Starks and Big Bill, the tag team champions, in a title match. The heels won thanks to some shenanigans and then House of Black came out and attacked Blackpool, Claudio, and Yuta as well. And that led to Bryan Danielson, FTR, and Jon Moxley all coming out to get the House of Black and Ricky and Bill out of there. So House of Black pissing a lot of people off. Very interested to see where that's going to go. They made they made a lot of enemies on Collision, so we'll see what happens. Then right afterwards was Battle of the Belts as basically like a third-hour Collision. Orange Cassidy beat John Silver to remain international champion. Him and Jon Moxley bumped into each other as they were one was coming out and one was heading out and had words. CJ Perry came up to Andrade, let him know that she'd like to be his manager and that they could work really well together. And Andrade seemed to be considering it. So hopefully that won't bring the Wrath of Miro down on him as well. We'll see. Samoa Joe took out Tony Nese to remain ROH TV champ. Cut a promo on MJF afterwards saying that he's going to be coming for the title and either he can give him his title shot or he will force him to give him his rematch. And then Chris Statlander defeated Willow Nightingale in the main event to remain TBS champion. Then also another thing was that Orange Cassidy cut a promo saying that Okada was coming back to team up with him against Jon Moxley and Claudio for Dynamite. And then the last match was the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn defeated the former Jericho Appreciation Society in a trios match to retain trios championship. So then we moved over to Dynamite last night. Show opened with MJF talking to Adam Cole on the phone, interrupted by Roderick Strong in the Kingdom. They basically accused him of being doing the devil mask stuff again. Max just basically knocked Roddy away with his wheelchair and then finished cutting a promo on Juice Robinson. It was great stuff. Opening match, MJF defeated Juice Robinson to keep the Dynamite Diamond ring. A lot of shenanigans, lots of cheating attempts by Bullet Club Gold, but MJF outsmarted them. He hit Juice with the ring behind the ref's back and then hit him with the Heat Seeker to win. But his victory didn't last long because Bullet Club Gold did a big beatdown on him, 4-on-1. Strong in the Kingdom tried to save MJF, not very well, which led to the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn coming out to make the real save. So there was a big
my head on that. I had to jump in. That was just like I
felt
like the Price is Right.
Yeah, Strong in the Kingdom trying to save MJF afterwards was pretty funny. That led to war of words exchange between the two groups, both offering their services to help MJF out in his 8-man tag match against Bullet Club Gold next week to try to get the belt back on his person since Jay White still has it. But he turned Strong in the Kingdom down and kind of did the same to the Acclaimed and told Max that nothing's going to happen. But of course Max pulled the so you say there's still a chance. Shout out to Dumb and Dumber. And he refused to do the scissoring, which the fans didn't appreciate. Let's see. Then we cut to before he left, as MJF was walking up the ramp, Kenny Omega came out and challenged him to a title match on Collision to try to prevent him from breaking Kenny's record as the longest reigning AEW World Champion, and whispered 3 days into his ear, "Bitch," which MJF appreciated the retort, and so that match is on for Collision. Then we had a pre-taped promo video from Wardlow explaining that he was supposed to be on top of the world. He beat MJF, paid him back for all the crap he put him through, and then it's like his life kind of falls apart, and then at the same time MJF becomes world champion, and the fans love him. He thinks that's a bunch of crap and plans to take everything away from MJF because he's got nothing left to lose. So a lot of people coming for MJF, man. And it's like he's multiple targets on his back. Hook and RVD, of all people, decided to team up, and they defeated the Dark Order. It was a tag match. More gold. Timeless Tony Storm debuted a new movie during the picture-in-picture break, which introduced that she's got a butler now. The wrestler Luthor is her Luthor the Butler now. Gives him something to do. More fun stuff from Tony Storm. She's just killing it with this whole gimmick right now. The silent movie stuff is fun. I'm liking it. And then we had the big moment. Tony Schiavone had Sting and Darby Allin out in the ring, and revealed that Tony Khan had procured a gift for Sting, and it was none other than the Nature Boy Ric Flair appeared on AEW Dynamite. Came out to his old classical music, Dust Spake Zarathustra. Big reaction from the fans for the Nature Boy, of course. Him and Sting hugged, talked about their history, about facing off the first class of the champions back in the day, and that he wanted to be here to ride out into the sunset with Sting in his final go around before he retires after AEW Revolution next year. That led to Team Christian Cage coming out. Christian, of course, running down Flair and Sting, saying that he doesn't want to wait until Revolution to put Sting out the pasture. He wants to end Sting's career like right now and challenged him to a 6-man tag between Team Christian and people of his choice, which would obviously probably assume be Darby and somebody else, for Full Gear, and Sting accepted. Funny bit where he's like, starts season, he's like, I'm allergic to assholes. It's like, and then ran down Christian in response. Then we had Renee Paquette sat down with Chris Jericho, talking about the losing to Powerhouse Hobbs the week before, 2 weeks ago, and said that his ego hurts more than his body, and he plans to retaliate against the Don Callis family, saying, well, they've got a lot of friends, but I still have some friends that I can rely on, and some of them are bigger than Powerhouse Hobbs, and I think I'm going to give I know who I'm going to give a call to. I think that implies their Big Show, Paul Wright, the Jericho reunion. They used to be they were tag team champions in WWE for a while. Fun stuff. So I think that's definitely what MJF was saying, that he's going to call in Paul Wright to help him out against Don Callis family. Then we had the Young Bucks and Hangman and Page defeated the Hardy Boys and Brothers A to remain the ROH 6-man tag team champions. After the match, a video aired on the Tron showing Swerve and Prince Nana breaking into Hangman's house. Basically, kind of like taking a run of the place. Swerve ripped up a drawing that one of his kids made on the refrigerator. Then went into Hangman's baby's room and basically like threatened to kidnap the kid, but instead decided to leave one of his T-shirts as a calling card and warning to Hangman, which caused Hangman to run to the back to try to get back to his house to make sure his family is okay. More cool stuff. This is where Hangman feud is cooking. I'm liking it. Adam Copeland was interviewed with Renee, and he reiterated that he does not want to fight Christian Cage at all. He wants to stay out of his way because he doesn't want to throw their friendship since childhood out the window. But Sting and Darby came up and was like, yo, dude, you need to wake up and smell the coffee. And Sting cut this was prime Sting. This is like one of the best Sting promos I've seen him do in a long time, where he basically ripped into the outraged superstar and was like, dude, take the blinders off. It's like, and then he referenced back in the day how Lex Luger and Ric Flair, who he said he says called a friend and everything. Lex Luger and Ric Flair stabbed Sting in the back multiple times, more than once, and he talked about how like he had blinders on when it came to them and didn't see that those betrayals coming when he should have, and he told Christian to take them off and to wake up. So I think this is definitely leading to probably. Adam's probably going to help them out against Team Christian Cage at the pay-per-view. Good stuff from Sting. I thought this was one of the best little bits from Sting I've seen in a while. He was really fired up. I liked it, and good reference to his history of being turned on. Hikaru Shida defeated Ruby Soho to remain AEW Women's Champion. Fine match, a lot of shenanigans, but Shida kept the title, no surprise. Timeless Tony Storm came out, had a little bit of a stare down with Shida, implying that she's going to be challenging her for the title soon, which I think is a good thing because she's red hot right now and she's very over with her whole gimmick. I love how Tony is shown in black and white on the top of the stage, and then when they switch back to Shida, it's in color. Nice touch. Then Renee Paquette went to talk to MJF in the back, see how he was doing. Before he could say much, Samoa Joe rolled up and offered his assistance to be Max's friend in his war against Bullet Club Gold, and told him that he would watch his back, and in return, he would give Samoa Joe another shot at the title. He told MJF that he didn't need to give an answer right now. He knows that he will do the smart thing. After he left, MJF had a look on his face like, I think I may need to have to make that deal kind of look on his face. Really cool stuff there. Then we had the main event, Orange Cassidy teaming up with Okada. from New Japan against Bryan Danielson and Claudio Castagnoli of Blackpool Combat Club. The BCC got the win here. There was a cool moment where Orange Cassidy and Okada hit combined Rainmaker and Orange Punch one after the other to knock poor Bryan Danielson silly. But Claudio broke that the pin attempt up and then hit the lifting uppercut on Orange Cassidy, nearly taking his head off to get the victory. Danielson looked like he may have been hurt by the double finisher attack from Okada and Orange Cassidy. That's kind of selling that. That brought Danielson, that brought the rest of the Combat Club, including Moxley, out. And then the Best Friends, along with Hook, came out to back just in case to back up Orange Cassidy and Okada. And they all had a big stare down to end the show, which is kind of weird. I expected maybe like a brawl to break out, but it was kind of just like they were just kind of like, I'm watching you. Make sure you're not doing anything. It's like nothing happened. I thought it was a little weird way to end the show, but still the main event was still good. So,
when's the last time we've had this good enough top to bottom AEW show?
This is one of the best Dynamites in a while, at least recently, because they kind of been up and down. Like some have been like kind of like and others have been really good. This was a really good show.
This was like storytelling, because this is the mix that AEW has been lacking. They've had great matches, and the storylines have been all over the place. This from last week to like again, I like a broken record.
Yep.
Like continuity is king in this thing. Okay. Now the casual fans, I understand why but the AEW puts on great matches, but their storytelling's always been lacking. The past since again, I will point it, and I mean I'm with Darren here. It has to be probably the best year in wrestling in a decade. Okay. I agree with that. What they're doing for the show.
Yeah, what we've gotten this year has been insane.
And the thing is a WWE recognizes AEW. That's a proven fact now, as much as they want to sit there and say they don't. Mm-hmm. Ever since that AEW, and I just want to kind of pin mark and put a pin in that. Ever since that Tuesday Night War, we have had just amazing stuff. And AEW, this is the AEW you've had like once they were like, oh, we're going up against them, and then WWE kind of went all out with the John Cena's and Cody Rhodes and Undertakers and all that stuff. And so AEW really had to. They put on a solid card, like Chris Jericho said. They didn't do that, but. I mean, that Sting stuff, Christian Cage stuff, Edge. I mean, Ric Flair made sense of why he showed up. Like,
because him and Sting are so tied together in their careers. It's like it makes sense that he would want them either. And I'm sure that Triple H is okay with it because he. And they actually like highlighted. Obviously, I know they're doing a lot more Tony Storm, and they're really doing well at it. But they're actually like highlighting the women's division decently this show. Like it was solid there. The Kingdom with MJF and Samoa Joe and like all that stuff, like it all actually makes sense. And it feels like
it's not random.
Something's gonna give you with MJF soon because it's like he's being attacked on multiple fronts. Mm-hmm. He's outnumbered by Bullet Club with Jay White wanting to take the title from him. Samoa Joe wants another title shot against him. Wardlow's finally wanting to pay back to finish what they started. And because he beat MJF, he's one of the few people who beat MJF clean in the ring in his AEW career. He wants the title, and it would probably be even more interesting if Cole was still around. But unfortunately, Cole's out injured, so it's like it makes things even more interesting because now he's like, Acclaim's offering to help him. Which is legitimate, and then you got people like the Kingdom and Samoa Joe who are also offering to help. But they have the ulterior motives. Although I would trust Samoa Joe more than the Kingdom and Roderick Strong if I was MJF, because Samoa Joe has he's had a little bit more honor than those guys. So he's more likely to keep his word than those guys.
Yeah, but that Sting promo that he did about like
oh my god
and all that stuff, I was like, oh, that's him and LA Knight's promos this week were.
I as soon as he brought up he goes when he brought up Lex Luger and then he goes and then it's like Ric Flair, my good friend who I'm very happy to see out there. I had blares on him too. He turned on me. Is like because that was a running joke for a while. It was like, oh, geez, Luger turned on Luger turned on Sting again. Oh, Flair screwed Sting over again. Like,
right.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
it's like him bringing that up was a great way to get through to Adam Copeland that he's got to deal with the Christian situation. He can't just ignore it. It's like, because he may not want to fight. You not want to fight Christian, but Christian's going to try to do something to him because he's that dastardly right now as a heel. It's like
Christian had that line of, if you were wrestling me, you would have died 20 years ago or something like that.
Oh, like it's like the fact that you didn't die 20 years ago means there is no God.
Right, or something like that. I was like, yeah, Christian just, again, just everyone watching, get closer. If AEW comes to your city, go to it, go support it. They're putting out solid content, and especially live. It's because they don't really do live shows a lot, but when they come to your town, please go to it because this is some really good wrestling, and it's obviously really, and they're really stepping their game up with their storytelling, which they've been lacking for about a year and a half. I would say about a year, just solid from top to bottom. But please go to it. I'm tired of going on the internet and being like, oh, the left side of the arena is empty. It's like, it's solid shows. There's no reason to be this empty. It's nothing against AEW because they're putting on solid shows. Yeah. I just don't know why people aren't going. Maybe it's a mark thing. Maybe because the casual fans think that AEW is just some like niche thing. I don't know. But this show lets me know that whoever is in Tony's ear, Tony, keep listening. Let them help you because this is awesome stuff that you're putting out, especially this week. This was a 90% show. This was a 90.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
thoughts?
this was a really solid show. The only low point I think was like the RVD Hook versus Dark Order tag match. It was just kind of like it was there. And the Bucks and Hangman versus Hardy.
It was to progress the swerve segment. He's so good right now.
It's like the Hardys and Matt and Jeff just don't. It's like they're wrestling on fumes these days, man. It's like I hate to say it. It's like they've lost a lot.
Meanwhile, Christian and Edge still got it.
Yeah, which is ironic. It's like Edge and Christian can still really go, whereas like the Hardys are all like broken down and don't. And
it's weird. Jumping off of 30-foot ladders can actually do a toll on.
Yeah, that's like It's like that's why. It's like I said, I worry about things Darby does. Don't want to end up being broken down like that too.
But yeah, I know. And the Bucks and Hangman, it's always fun. And it was just a cool like, oh, that's kind of nostalgic. I don't know why it's nostalgic, but it's just like that's a really good match. But it was really a match to set up the swerve thing. Right, so it was a cool match because that's the thing. They always put on cool matches. They never really build to them. That's the only thing that I always knock. Because it's like if you're gonna have a match, build towards it. Same thing with the Dragon Lee, Cameron Grimes. Same thing with Nikki randomly just being a zombie, just being there. Like I want you all to be booked. I want talent to be booked, to be on the show, to be highlighted. But again, make it make sense other than just be like, oh, we're gonna put these two together. But why? I just always want to know the why. And it's if it's a house show, that's one thing. You just these people are just gonna because they're putting on a good wrestling match for a house show. But if it's on TNT, if you're actually putting on an actual wrestling show, look, this is soap opera with men in tights. Okay, it is what it is, and this is why we love it. But make the matches make sense on why it happened, other than just like, oh, all right, you and you go together. It's nitpicky. Okay, it's nitpicky is what I'm doing, but I always like to make the story make sense. Why is this match happening? What was just a little bit of build? I don't care. I don't really, and I think it's cheap too. Just being like, I know it's like the Tozawa, like just being in the backstage. At least you highlighted him. He's doing like some goofy thing about him and Bronson Reed. But at least I don't really like those. Are like they just bump, they just like shoulder shove each other. It's like, what? You want to go? I'm like, yeah, that's just cheap there. But the Hangman and the Bucks versus the Hardys and Brother Zay, which I thought I was saying Brother Zay.
It was a match. This thing was nothing special.
Right. So again, it's just that won the award for pulling a random match out of your hat. You two go against each other, where everything else made sense going forward. But again, that's just nitpicky on this show. But
there's a lot of stuff good. Yeah, it's like they're really doing a job of actually like finally like building storylines.
And they could do it in the past. That Hangman Kenny Omega long long-term story from them tagging to
Mhm.
Kenny going heel and the Bucks, and then Hangman being the drunkard and like all that stuff. Like they
That
can
was
do
great.
it. They have it in their pocket, and
Yeah,
they just went away from
that
it.
year-long storyline of Hangman, it's like falling from grace and then finally building himself back up to beating Kenny Omega for the title was fantastic. It's like that's the stuff that is like that you want to see AEW off on there, and it's like we're seeing more of that. It's like there's multiple storylines that I'm very into right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering what because or the BBC and the Best Friends have got beef going on because of what's going on between Moxley and Orange Cassidy. But now all of a sudden, House of Black is in the mix. It's like what they did on Collision, and then so they've got beef with Comic Club, and also the thing between Ricky Starks and Big Bill and Comic Club isn't over yet either. So it's like,
Moxley's back. Yay.
Yeah.
On that, but yeah, no. Overall, as far as again, another solid week, which we'll finish out here with NXT with Halloween Havoc, which I still need to go back and I only watch the highlights. But for what I've seen, I just need to go back and watch it because I'm just really invested in Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams right now. As far as that feud, that's my favorite storyline going right now. It's just where is that going? We know where it's going, but it's still entertaining as hell. The fact that you know where it's going and you still are just wanting to watch it, that is awesome stuff that they're doing. So, go on to that. And then, just real quick, they did that with Beer Money and TNA. When a story works, it works. Yeah,
exactly, Darren.
Exactly. Thank you for that. So we will finish up here with NXT. And take it away, sir. And then I'll come back and talk about how much I like the Trick Williams Carmelo Hayes stuff.
Okay. All right. So for NXT this week was night one of Halloween Havoc special. Lots of big matches and title matches, stips going on. Hosted by Shotzi and Scarlett, who opened the show. Shout out to Shotzi and Scarlett with all the costumes. They changed it into multiple costumes throughout the show. Probably some of them were pre-taped because I don't know how quickly they. Because Shotzi looked pretty awesome as Pinhead from Hellraiser, I have to say. And the first match was Roxanne Perez taking on Kiana James in a Devil's Playground match, basically, hardcore match. Roxanne Perez got the win. She hit pop rocks onto Kiana James's loaded purse as payback for the stuff Kiana's been doing to her lately. So, good showing for Roxanne. She's probably going to get back into the title picture probably pretty soon. Vic Joseph had a sit-down interview with Carmelo Hayes. Melo denied attacking Trick Williams to take him out of the number one contender match. He said he basically was like, it's not about the title. It's also about me being him, which means I'm the best. And how can I say that if I'm not the NXT champion? When Vic asked him if he would have won the match if Trick had been in the match, he said yes, he would have, and promises justice for Trick and that he's going to win the title back. And then kind of got up and left when Vic was like, wait a minute, I got more questions for you. Also, a very interesting moment where Melo said that he has removed all distractions from himself, and then when he said that, it cut to Vic Joseph with like a, whoa, what do you mean by that kind of look on his face? So adding more intrigue into whether or not Melo was the one who attacked Trick or not. I really like that. That was a nice little touch. Charlotte and Scotty did a tarot card reading for Metaphor, saying that bad stuff was about to happen to them, which they didn't like to hear. And while they argued about it, Akira Tozawa popped up behind them and stole the Heritage Cup from under Noam Dar's nose, and causing him to freak out. Then we had the debut of the man formerly known as Brian Pillman Jr. as Lexus King. Came out to a really cool entrance. Came out on a throne because he's a king. So pretty decent match. Debuted. He beat let's see, what's his name? Dante Chen, who's a pretty decent wrestler. I thought Dante got a little more offense than he probably should have, but either way, King got the win. Looked really good. Well, looking forward to seeing what they do with Pillman Jr. here going forward. Good start for him. They had the semifinals of the Women's Breakout Tournament. Winner will get a future NXT Women's title shot. Kalani Jordan defeated Ariana Grace. And then later in the show, The other match was Carmen Petrovic, Lola Vice. Lola Vice won that, so it'll be Lola Vice versus Jordan in the finals. I would say kill out of Jordan. I can definitely see what they see in her. She's got some serious potential. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on her and see how she does in this match. Let's see. Then we had Von Wagner and Mr. Stone had a little promo. Stone realizes he went too far challenging Bron Breakker. He's probably going to get destroyed, but he's hoping to get in one good shot at him before he gets wrecked. But Von Wagner says he believes in him. Shotzi was dressed up as Edward Scissorhands, Scarlett as a vampire, hanging out by the wheel. Creed Brothers and Ivy Now came out. They want their hand. They want to get their hands on Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo as payback, but they don't want just any normal match. So the ladies offered for them to spin the wheel, make the deal. Creed's had Ivy spin for them, and it landed on a tables, ladders, and scares match, aka chairs. So TLC match between the Creed Brothers and Los Loferos next week on Martin 2 Halloween Havoc. That should be a hell of a match. Then one of the big title change shockers of the night, Chase U defeated Tony D and Stacks, the family, to win the NXT Tag Team titles with Thea Hale and JC Jane at ringside. JC Jane tried to get Andre Chase to cheat the win. She slipped him a crowbar, but he refused to use it. Tony D went to attack. Chase ducked, and that led to him accidentally knocking JC off the apron. And then Andre rolled him up to win the titles. Really cool for Chase U. They've been over for a long time. Very popular act with the fans. Really cool to see them finally win the gold. Long overdue. We'll see where this leads to, especially with JC Jane trying to be an evil influence on Chase U now that she's become friends with Thea Hale. Especially after the trying to get Chase to cheat to win. Nathan Frazier cut promo with his little vignette show, challenging Dirty Dom Mysterio to a North American title match, saying that assuming Rhea will let him, as he says, kind of like taking a dig at that, like that he's under mommy's thumb. Baron Corbin resumed back. He denied attacking Trick Williams and suggested people like Axiom Wesley maybe did it instead. And then we had a lights out match between Blair Davenport and Gigi Dolan amidst their feud. Blair Davenport won this one. She put Gigi Dolan through a table with a Falcon Arrow off of the announce desk and then hit a running knee in the face to pin her in the ring. Definitely building. I think that's a good thing. I mean, I love Gigi Dolan. I think she's going to be a fine. Obviously, they see a lot in her. I was kind of bummed that she lost, but they got to build up some other heel challengers in the division besides Tiffany Stratton and Blair Davenport. She was the one who took out a lot of people and injured them, including the Kia Lions. So eventually those chickens will come home to roost at a certain point. So it makes sense that they're building her back up. They're probably a challenge for the title soon. Vic sat down with Ilya Dragunov. Vic was very busy with the sit-down interviews lately, this evening. Talking about the time match with Mello. Pretty standard stuff. Ilya's a good interview. Mello was shown watching the interview on a monitor elsewhere in the building. And then Shotzi and Scarlett came up to him dressed as the twins from The Shining. Nice. I like that. And they said that all signs that they see point to that Carmelo was the one who attacked Trick. He denied it, said he doesn't believe in all that kind of crap, and left while the ladies just giggled in response. Tiffany Stratton was cutting a promo in the back, but she was interrupted by Fallon Henley, who for Halloween decided to dress up as Tiffany Stratton. She did a whole impression of Tiffany, which I thought was pretty funny. But Tiffany didn't appreciate the humor and attacked Fallon, and they brawled, setting up probably a match for them right around the corner. In the back, Chase U was with the ladies celebrating the title win. Then Chelsea Green and Piper Niven interrupted their celebration. Funny little bit. Chelsea was dressed up as Red Riding Hood, and Piper Niven as basically like the Big Bad Wolf, but on a chain. They had words with the ladies, and Thea and JC Jane challenged them to a tag title match next week on Halloween Havoc. Tozawa sent a metaphor note saying that yes, he did steal the Heritage Cup, and if they want it back, they need to come and get it. And with a picture of a haunted house. This is a bit they've done on the Halloween Havocs before. Heels having to go into a haunted house due to baby faces. Cameron Grimes went through it one year. It was pretty hilarious. So it looks like metaphors are about to get treated to a haunted house adventure courtesy of Tozawa. So that's probably going to be part of the vignettes next week on Halloween Havoc Night 2. And then right before the main event, Braun Breaker visited Carmelo in the locker room, accused him of being the one who attacked Trick as well. So he jumped on the you attack Trick bandwagon. But it said that, hey, if that's the Melo that shows up next week against Ilya Dragunov, he'll become the NXT championship again. Said he'll see him later. Jay Cargill arrived, came out to watch the main event from up on the balcony up above in the Performance Center there. And then we had the big main event that had been hyped for the last couple weeks. NXT Women's title, Becky Lynch defending against Lyra Valkyria, both from Ireland. They made a big deal about this. They showed clips of fans from Ireland saying who they thought was going to win the match. This was a fantastic match. 4-star main event. Absolutely incredible. Fans were going nuts for this match. Lots of crazy near falls. They kicked out of each other's finishers, which was really wild. That's when I was like, I did not know where this match was going to go after that. Especially when Lyra kicked out of the manhandle slam, which not many women in WWE have ever done. So it's like that was a huge shocker. And then Becky kicked out of her finisher. So it was like lots of this awesome chants and led to a great finish where Becky went for the manhandle slam again. And Lyra reversed it into a rolled up and was able to pin Becky and become the new NXT Women's Champion, much to the shock of just about everybody. Myself included, even though I've been praising Lyra Valkyria for a while, I did not think she was going to win this match. I thought Becky was going to hold that title for a little bit longer, but this is a huge win and moment for Lyra Valkyria. They obviously, HBK and them believe in her big time. She just got made. Becky put her over huge in the main event. They had a fantastic match. Even Jade was they showed Jade Cargill sitting up and applauding the ladies after the match was over. Becky took the title herself, handed it over to Lyra, and they shared a big hug. And Becky raised the Lyra's hand in victory, and then gave the floor to her and let her celebrate and bask in the win as the show closed out to end the first night of Halloween Havoc. Becky later said on Twitter that the future is bright with the Irish flag. So giving her nod of approval to Lyra Valkyria. So I was really shocked by this. A lot of people were shocked by this, but I'm really happy for her. I've been singing Lyra's praise. I didn't think much of her when she first came to NXT a year ago. She was in NXT UK for a while before it was shut down. But she's really won me over, especially the last couple months with her in-ring work. Her promo skills are definitely getting in there. She has some really good stuff in the build to this match with Becky, which is, Becky's one of the best talkers in the women's division, WWE. So it's saying a lot that they felt that they confidence in her going toe-to-toe verbally with Becky says a lot. So I guess I don't know if Becky's time in NXT is over with. Because it definitely gave a boost to the ratings, but this is a huge win for her. Really happy for her. She's definitely the future for WWE's Women's Division is bright. I mean, between Valkyria, Tiffany Stratton, and Roxanne Perez, it's like, man, I can't wait to see what those three and some of the other people who are really starting to shine in the NXT Women's Division do on the main roster, because the future is bright. They got some really talented ladies coming up the pipe.
We didn't even mention Gigi Dolan, Blair Davenport.
Yeah. And I'm high on Gigi Dolan. I think she has potential.
I'm very high on Gigi Dolan. I don't know why, but just like something about her just makes her look, her in-ring skills are fine. Her mic skills are fine. I know they're not. Both of them are not great. They're not like Tiffany Stratton and Roxanne. The fans
really love her. So
yeah, she's got a good look.
I think it's like, I know some people are kind of bummed because they think it's like she hasn't won anything in a while, but she's been featured before. She's also been up for title opportunities before. She's been in title matches before. So they obviously see something in her. So she wouldn't get featured as much. So I'm not too worried about her yet.
Yeah. Do you think it's an overload? And I'm looking at overload as a bad thing because there's so much talent. In NXT. Because there's talent. There's talent on the main roster, but still. Yeah,
there's a lot of talented women right now, and like I said, what's her name there?
There's just only so much time.
Aki-
Unfortunately, it's kind of what
yeah.
AEW was doing when they were like hiring
Kalani
everybody
Jordan
back in the
looks
day.
like she has potential to be something really good.
Yeah.
She's definitely got some skills. But yeah, I mean, yeah, in those three, Claire Davenport, Gigi Dolan, Thea Hale, and JC Jane are really solid too. Then Nikita Lyons is really awesome when she hasn't been injured, and it's like, so hopefully she can be able to bounce back. The NXT Women's division right now is an embarrassment of riches. A lot of talent. I mean,
yeah, I know you. I know you said in a good way, but I was just playing devil's advocate.
I mean, this year,
there's so many good women on that. On
I put those three and highlight the three: Roxanne, Tiffany, and Lyra, because they've all been NXT Women's Champion this year. Roxanne came in. She had beaten Mandy Rose when Mandy was shoved out the door. We could do that whole unfortunate stuff with her and her OnlyFans, which apparently pissed off WWE, and she got shown the door.
She was making too much money that they weren't able to have.
Basically. But Roxanne got the title and the big win. She came into the year as a champion. And then when she lost it, Tiffany Stratton got the nod, and it's like, and then she bit off more because she was Becky. Becky took it from her, and then now Lyra has defeated Becky clean as a sheet to become the new champion. So obviously those three are like I put them at the top because they've all been NXT Women's Champion within this past year. So they obviously, those three,
and you can definitely tell they're different than than even though they're amazing. Like I said, it's like you said,
there's other great women like we were talking about, like Gigi and Blair Davenport and other people, but those three obviously are the ones that they see the real star potential in.
If you didn't put Roxanne in there, we were gonna have some words.
Yeah, no, she's been NXT Women's Champion, and I think she's gonna get back in the title mix. Probably Blair Davenport as well. Blair Davenport would probably be a good heel challenger.
I always like a storytelling where it's like it's not always the same crap every week.
And don't count out Tiffany either. She's got a side feud with Fallon Henley, obviously to give her something to do, but she's probably going to get back in the title picture again before she leaves for the main roster as well.
I didn't realize all is NXT just basically what NXT UK was in that situation, as far as the division.
Yeah,
because wasn't Gigi over there too?
I don't know if she was, but Blair Davenport was.
Blair Davenport definitely was. She's Brie Priestley. So
both Blair and Lyra were both in NXT UK Women's Division for a while before it was shut down.
Okay, Darren said yes. All of them were. So Gigi was over there. Okay, because Gigi and Darby Allin dated. I think they were.
Oh, that's married. Right. Yeah, they used to be
married or dated. One, I forget.
They dated. I'm pretty sure I heard.
I knew that on that. But yeah, no. I mean,
I have to say, I thought this was my favorite show of the week. Honest to God, I thought just the whole Halloween Havoc theme. Nice nod to the past. The spinning wheel make the deal. Shotzi and Scarlett rocking the costumes and causing all kinds of shenanigans. It's like they were great. Good matches. Big title changes that the fans were happy about. Chase U. It's like they were really happy seeing Chase U and Lyra Valkyria win. Feuds were advanced. The whole storyline with Mello. Did Mello stab Trick in the back? Did that really happen, or is someone trying to make it look like it? It's like we don't know yet. We'll find out.
And Trick is more over than Mello right now, which is awesome. How they organically made that happen and then used that to double back on the storyline.
And fans still love Mello, but it's like Trick has gotten super over real fast.
Super over. He's like Sami Zayn level over of like that one run with the.
As soon as he comes out, it's jump that fans start chanting, jump that Trick
or move that Trick.
Yeah, move that Trick. But yeah, no, I'm definitely very interested to see where this goes. If like Mel's going back to the dark side here or not, because they really want you to think that right now, because like the whole like I've removed all distractions line, which made Vic go and then everybody, Shotzi and Scarlett said that he did it. Braun thinks he did it. It's like, so either he did it or it's all one big red herring and someone else did it.
It's Mello. Just do Mello and Trick. If that match is gonna be all. I mean, anything with Mello in is gonna be great, but just the story and the build up and just that's money.
The only person that's been off TV for a while since he lost to Mello in a title match was Wesley. I'm hoping Wesley pops back up soon because he's awesome.
Yeah,
it was very interesting that Baron Corbin name dropped him out of nowhere. So it's like I don't think that was just like a throwaway line. So we might be seeing him maybe pop back up soon.
Yeah, are they ever going to bring back Wesley's tag team? I know the trio. They're never going to sign the other because they realized that was false, but they just went ahead and parted ways with them before. I don't.
He did something. I think it was like
he did some like. Well, I thought his spouse was like domestic abuse, and it came out that it didn't. She was lying about. I don't know. But the fact that he hasn't come back yet since that was I might.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it was on the there was the accusations. Yeah.
Yeah, and it came out that it wasn't, but they were like whatever. So anyway, Wesley's definitely that's got Shawn Michaels written all over it with how they progress. Wesley
his NXT title run.
Mm-hmm. His North Division.
Yeah. Well,
title run.
That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, Wesley's going to be back sooner or later. It'd be cool to see him win the NXT title. He had a hell of a North American title run before Dom Mysterio took it from him. He was defending it like crazy. Had great matches with people, bangers. So he's definitely up there with like Mello and Braun as with a bright future for sure.
Yeah. But no, just kind of closing out. It's great. Like you said, the highlights that I've seen, I still need to go back and watch it on the Peacock. But I definitely will. But yeah, another little nugget as far as the top 10 we're going to do. Top 10 wrestling sets, because Halloween Havoc, spoiler alert, is going to be up there for mine as far as the old school Halloween Havoc wrestling set. That thing is awesome. And WCW was really good with their wrestling sets. Just out there. And then I always like, and just spoiler alert, the backlash with the swinging size. That was always cool.
Yeah.
I miss those old school wrestling sets. But I understand why they don't do them, because why? I mean, you're not really scared to see the wrestling set. Other than WrestleMania, they really and even SummerSlam doesn't really do much. It's just WrestleMania that does the wrestling sets now. But yeah, I don't know why we got on that. I just Halloween Havoc always brings that up, because every time Halloween Havoc gets brought around, people put that big old ass pumpkin in the old school WCW set.
Also, it was 25 years ago this week. Halloween Havoc 98, the infamous Halloween Havoc pay-per-view, which there was a miscommunication about the start time, which led to the Goldberg DDP match being put off.
Goldberg?
And they had to air that match for free on Nitro to make up for it.
Yep.
Which is probably Goldberg's best match ever. That match is fantastic. Go check it out if you've never seen it. DDP brought out the best in Goldberg. It's a great match.
He actually made Goldberg look like a competent wrestler, not just a 2-minute squash match. Which, if William Regal couldn't get it out of him, I'm surprised DDP did, because William Regal tried.
Shows how good DDP was.
Yeah. So anyway, and then obviously, so that, and then the Bash at the Beach. So it's kind of weird how it's like Bash at the Beach and Halloween Havoc have some kind of either infamous or famous situation.
As long as we don't have Cheating the Midget return.
Yeah, no kidding on that. But yeah, no. Again, solid week of wrestling, dude. Just
props.
We are spoiled as hell right now. If you're not, if you are still like AEW or bust, or WWE or bust, dude, open your eyes.
Yeah.
We are living, like Darren said, and thank you, Darren, for chatting up with us and joining us. And everyone else, comment, like, subscribe, thumbs up, all that fun stuff. Yeah. But we are really spoiled right now. It's just we're gonna wake up one day and realize what happened to that one time that was like a 6-month span of just really solid wrestling. Unfortunately it's gonna happen, because it's just we've been watching wrestling for 30 years now, and it's just like up and downs. We have to go through the stars get older, and so new stars come in, and they might not pop like they did, but we've got an LA Knight and John, and all that stuff.
That's why I loved what Becky did for Lyra on Halloween Havoc here. She put her over huge. So it's like she helped make her. She put her on the map and helped make elevate her star power with this match and this victory. So
that's one thing Triple H and Shawn know how to do that Vince just, when he got older, he didn't care anymore. He understands the progression of how to make a new star and how to understand their traits and their skill sets and book around that, which is it's not rocket science, but it's also tough to hone in on.
Exactly.
As far as like booking shows, because I mean, I remember watching the Kevin Nash breaking down of when he was the booker and had to book just 2 shows, and how hard it was for him to do Nitro and Thunder. And he was like, well, this, and like, if you ever go, just so you all know, go back and watch that of Kevin Nash breaking down booking just 2 shows, and it's just basically what, 3 hours, because, or no, Nitro was 3 hours at one point, I think. But anyway, just booking basically 3 to 4 hours worth of shows, whereas NXT, Raw, SmackDown, thankfully Sean does that, but you 5 hours worth of content each week, and then also leading up to this, and then just how hard that is. It's not easy to do.
Yep.
On that. So, but any last thoughts here? We're at the 2-hour mark.
No, just I'm with you. It's an embarrassment of riches right now. It's like none of the shows really. It's like none of the shows like really suck anymore right now. It's like they ebb and flow. Like they have that show wasn't the best, but it wasn't like horrible. To like wow, yeah, that was great television. Yeah. And NXT is back to really killing it. Like I said, this Halloween Havoc Night 1 really entertained me. I thought it was great. I can't wait to see what happens night 2, especially with the
because it's right on Halloween. I'm definitely got that pin marked. Has there ever been so excited for a pool of wrestlers? No, because there's never been a women's division. There's never been women's wrestlers like this.
No, not with this kind of depth. It's like
that's all across TNA, AEW, WWE. There's never been this big of pool of women's wrestlers, much less what the men are putting out there, because the men's always deliver, really, if you think about it, just at the end of the day. But the women have never been highlighted like it has been for the past, like, I don't know, past 10, 6, whenever the 4 Horsewomen came in. Okay, TNA was already doing it, but the 4 Horsewomen really made everyone else step their game up. For women's wrestling, and then more people bought in because those 4 influenced. Like, you had the Litas and Trishas who influenced the AJ Lees, and then influenced the Sasha Bankses and stuff like that, and obviously Charlotte being as good as she was, and then Becky and Bayley, obviously. So like the 4 Horsewomen really just put the women's, made them really focus in on, and made emphasis and made stars out of the women's division that we've never seen before. And then on top of having a good booker that understands talent, doesn't give us the same bullshit each week, that really highlights them in-ring work and also works on their mic skills. Yes, you can sit there and say it. Honestly, I think as far as talent-wise, this is better than Attitude Era. I will say that as far as talent-wise, top to bottom, because there was a lot of if you really go back and watch the Attitude Era stuff, there's a lot of fodder.
It was.
And that stuff. Whereas, so that's a great question. But yes, I would agree right now, top to bottom, talent wise, this is again, we're it's
like not only just a wrestling renaissance in general, but also for women's wrestling.
Yes,
it's like
this was the women's revolution that they were talking about, even though they were trying to just make it a thing. No, like I will put the 4 Horsewomen as the linchpin that
it started with them, and it's just continued to build. And it's like and now they're inspiring other people, like Lyra Valkyria is like the build up to this was that Becky was her idol, and she looked up to her and inspired her to wrestle. So I was like, it's like they've been around long enough now they're inspiring other people that like I want to be Becky, Charlotte, and all these others are inspiring other people to.
I forget who Tiffany said was her inspiration, but it's just
I think Tiffany's praised Charlotte. I think she's a big fan of Charlotte.
I like it. I just can't wait for that Spider-Man meme, dude. I just can't wait for them to like get together and be like, hey, like when Miz and Waller like bumped each other in the Rumble, and they're like, oh wait, we're the same person. On that. But yeah, dude. Yes, Darren, thank you for the last question here. I know.
Thanks a lot, Darren. Appreciate you hanging out with us.
Yeah, appreciate it hanging out. But yeah, dude, we are swimming in riches right now. As far as wrestling, this is such a fun time, and just we're as they told the NXT faction before John Cena buried him. Jericho told him, he goes, enjoy it, just hold on to it, enjoy every last minute of it, because unfortunately it will. I hope it keeps going, obviously. But we just know that time is a flat circle.
Wrestling's had its ups and downs periods. I mean, like, dear God, like mid-90s WWF was, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
1995. I don't know how I survived watching WWF.
93 to 95 was hard.
1995 when Diesel was champion was like one of the worst like years like they ever had. Every pay-per-view just stunk up the joint. It was not good time.
WCW from
Bad
98 to
characters,
2000 was terrible. It's just
all kinds of stupid gimmicks. It was just bad.
Yeah.
So it's like
I mean, and then like 2015 WWE. Oh God.
but then you get to like 97, 98.
Yeah.
And then
Well, 96 to 2001 was just awesome. Yeah. And then we had a lull there from like 2002 to 4, and then the Ruthless Aggression took over in like 6, I think.
Yeah.
And it really took off with the Smackdown.
For a good couple years until about the early 2010s. After CM Punk and WWE parted ways in not very unfriendly and ugly, that there was definitely a downturn for a while.
You just had Cena burying everybody, and I don't even know if, and like looking at him back, maybe he just looked back and was like, "Yeah, I shouldn't have done that." But I mean, he's got to now he can
he's owned up to that.
But yeah, he's owned up to that. I mean, Triple H has never owned up to the reign of what they call it, reign of terror.
It's like
even though I did, I mean, that was the only that was kind of like the sour note of the Ruthless Aggression is the reign of terror when like, dude, you were hurt, you were way out of shape, and you were hurt. And you still want to keep the belt.
Booker T feud, that was not.
Yeah, and Goldberg should have won that Elimination Chamber. Like, I'm not a big Goldberg fan, but he should have. That was probably the best top to bottom wrestling match that Goldberg ever.
You bring in Goldberg and you do that to him. That was.
And then Booker T is still,
It still leaves a bad taste of it. Booker's gotten over it, but it still leaves a bad taste in people's mouths.
Yeah, and Booker tries to just rub it, just kind of just shrug it off, and I'm like, good for you, man, because I'm
glad he's over it because it's like the fans are still not over it.
Shout out to Black Snow, that's an old TNA thing.
Yeah.
But
anyway,
but thank you so much for everyone, Darren, for hanging out. Everyone else, like, subscribe, patreon.com/RuckusEV. Join the Ruckus, and you can also be a part of the shows that we put on as Justin, my tag team partner in this thing. He's now part of our weekly shows that we put on here. So join the Ruckus, and you can be a part of it. Literally, as you can see.
Yes.
And also like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Put the thumbs up so that before we go live, you are notified, you are knowing that we're here, and come in and hang out. Obviously, we will highlight you on that. But Justin, thank you so much. As always a pleasure to talk with you wrestling weekly. We did it before, but now we actually can put it out on the internet for everyone else to enjoy. Anything else? Thank you all so much for joining us, and we will see you next week.